And hello all. I'm your host, Rob, from Cruising on the High Seas. Today, we have a special guest joining us, Larry from Plump Travelers, where we'll be talking all about solo cruising. Let's welcome on in Sir Larry from Plump Travelers.
Hey,
Hello,
hey.
hello, Larry. How are
Good
you?
afternoon. Good afternoon. How's it going?
Yeah. So, like we said in the introduction, and of course on the main topic, is we're talking all about solo traveling.
Not Han Solo
No, not on solo. No.
travel. There's Meg. Hi, Meg.
Hello, Meg. How are you doing today?
It is so comfortable for me to say that name because that's my daughter's name. So it's just like, hi, Meg. But, I'm not going to call her Maggie, Meg Pie, Maggie Boo,
Yes. So let's dive right on into the conversation all about solo traveling. Now, some
Oh,
people may ask, what is solo traveling? To me, solo traveling is easy. It's when you're traveling all by yourself. I know, all by yourself.
nobody to travel with.
Nobody there to help you. But I hear you have a fantastic time when you do solo travel and you meet a lot of interesting people. But Larry, what do you classify as solo traveling?
Solo traveling is when you have to deal with all the booking the flight. Well, not necessarily the booking the flights, but it's going to the airport and having to get your tickets and then board the plane all by yourself, no family or friends or anybody there with you. Really hard, But I'm kidding. Um, so yeah, flying, be it wherever. Even if you're going to a summer camp, to me, and you're meeting up with a group at that summer camp, but if you go there on your own, I consider that solo travel because you still have to go to the airport and catch a cab or whatever it is to get to wherever you're going to, or driving there or whatever by yourself. I consider that solo travel too. And I'll give you an example if I may.
Okay.
Uh, in 1980, I was 10 years old. And being Canadian, Rob, we're Canadians here.
Yes.
uh,
A.
a Tim Hortons, our coffee here in Canada, they have a charity that they run every year. It's called Tim Hortons Camp Day. And what it is you'll buy a coffee, and a certain percentage of I think, or maybe even all the money goes
Yeah.
to this
I believe it's,
charity.
yeah,
Yeah,
100%, I believe.
100% goes to the camp days. And what it is, well, back in 1980, Tim Hortons, I believe, only had one camp, maybe two. But right now, I think it is Tim Hortons has 5 camps all across Canada.
And I think
Well,
one in the States.
do they have one in the States? I don't know about
I
that.
believe one in the States.
Yeah. So 1980, I was 10 years old. Now I'm aging myself, but that's okay. Age don't bother me. So I was chosen to go to this Tim Hortons camp, and it was called Tim Hortons Memorial Camp. It was 25 miles northeast of Parry Sound, Ontario, because my mom was so proud of me going there and stuff. And she used to tell her friends, yep, 25 miles northeast of Parry Sound. Now, that wasn't an exact, voice of my mom, but I'm sure you know where Parry Sound is, Rob, and
Yep.
I'm sure you can tell everybody, that what it's like in Ontario and where this area that I went to the camp. So where I was born and originally from, my hometown, I had to take a bus, like a Greyhound bus, from St. John, New Brunswick, which is a cruise port, everyone. If you take the New England route going out of New York and Boston, it's one of the not always, but it's one of the stops is St. John, New Brunswick, and that's where I was born. But anyway, so I had to take a bus to Moncton, New Brunswick, and then we stayed the night in a hotel there by myself. Like I had to get on this bus. My mom dropped me off at the bus station, and I had to get on the bus and drive. They drove us and a group of others, but at that point I don't know them. They're all strangers to me and stuff like that. And because they choose all across Canada who goes to this camp, and you know, it's not like they're sending every kid in St. John to this camp. So there might have been a couple I don't even remember really. So they drove us to Moncton, stayed in a hotel overnight, get up the next day, and then we flew from Moncton, New Brunswick to the Dorval Airport in Montreal, Quebec. Now, I'll tell you right now, I was in a group, but again, I didn't know these kids or anything. And I was at the very first of the plane, if you can call, like on a it wasn't even a 737. Oh gosh, I don't even remember where it was. But it was the first row, and they didn't have no first class seating. It was just a regular seat. But I was at row number 1, and I got to hold these tickets. And I guess there was like 20 something tickets back when they had the actual plane ticket written in a little envelope. I don't know if you remember, Rob. You're not that old though.
No.
But you've never gone to an airport where they actually gave you an envelope and it had the ticket, the actual ticket with carbon copies and all that.
Okay. Oh, okay. I know what you're referring to now.
So anyway, so I got the hold. I was all proud of myself at 10 years old, holding on to these plane tickets. And, you know, back then I grew up poor. It's well known in my community or in my channel that I grew up poor. But holding on to 25 plane tickets back then, you're thinking, holy God, I'm holding on to gold. I got like $1 million worth of plane tickets here and I'm holding it. So they asked me to do it because there was no adults on this plane with me. And so long story short, we get to Montreal, get off at the Dorval Airport. But I was the very first one off the plane, and there was a bunch of people there, you know, grown-ups. I'm 10. And they come over and talk to me in French. I have no clue. I don't speak French. Sorry. I come from a bilingual province, but I did it. Anyway, so they shake my hand and said something, and then they took us off. But then they brought us to another bus, but it was a Tim Hortons bus in the Tim Hortons scheme and all that. And then they had to drive us from all the kids, the full bus coming in. Like this was all a bunch of kids coming in from everywhere on the East Coast, basically. And then they drove us from Montreal all the way up to Parry Sound, which is, gosh, I don't know how many kilometers or miles in case of some Americans. How long do you think that would be, Rob? Like in kilometers, Montreal to Parry Sound. Well, from Montreal to Toronto, that's what, a 3-hour drive, isn't it?
Oh no.
No.
I haul about in 6. When I do that drive, I can haul in. I normally do a haul within 6 hours. But of course, that's
from Montreal to Toronto. Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh wow.
But that's also because based on traffic too. Oh, we've just lost Larry. So give us a quick moment and we will get Larry back on up.
I'm here.
Yep. We just don't see. We just see that your beautiful background.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but we just don't see you.
All right, let's see. Let's figure out something on my side. Let's see here. My camera is on.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can figure out.
As soon as you clicked that last button, it turned your camera off, and then it came back to just your picture.
I know. Pro webcam. Okay, let's turn this off for a minute. Here, let me see. Nope, that's mirrored. Let's go down to integrated webcam. No, I don't want that one. Let's change the resolution down to that. Maybe. There we go.
And
it keeps popping out for some reason.
Yep. As soon as you take away your green screen, you're fine. Yep.
Okay, so what I'm going to try here Thankfully, I am a computer geek. All right. So let's try this. Try this. Try this. And then this. We're going to go in here. Bear with me.
That's okay.
Pro webcam. Okay, so let's try this.
We see
Can
you.
see me now? Can you
I
see me now?
Yep.
There we go. Let's do this. There we go. Yay!
Yay!
You found me! Sorry. I'm going back to when I was 10, you know.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. I'm not even going to attempt to ask and figure it out. But back to my story. So, yes, so we had to go from Montreal to the camp and everything. Well, you're saying 6 hours. Wow. And actually, I remember looking out the bus window and seeing all the Lamborghinis going by because, you know, coming from a small town, you're going into the big city. And at that point, that was my first time ever being in a big city. Like you see, oh, wow, there's a limousine, man. There must be some cool movie stars in there. And now, you know, now that we're older, we're looking at limousines like, okay, that's an old car. Anyway, get to there in the camp, and there was over, gosh, I don't even remember how many kids there was. You know, 300 or 400 kids, all in different camps. And the point I was trying to make here, yes, there was. I'm going from to a camp with a bunch of people. I still consider that solo travel. You know what I mean? Going outside of solo travel is, you know, hanging out with your friends, going somewhere with your family or your loved ones, traveling somewhere. You know what I mean? That's normal, typical travel. Whereas solo travel is going somewhere by yourself. You know, part of the travel or all of the travel is by yourself. That's what I consider solo.
Yep.
It was a long way of explaining it, but I just thought, you know, it'd be a great thing to talk about.
Yeah, and of course, you got to figure out how to get from point A to point B all on your own.
All on your own. Now, of course, my mommy brought me to the bus station, you know, the typical send off. Oh, I'm going to miss you so long. Like you're going away for 26 years, but it's only for 10 days. It was a 10-day trip. Memorable. I'm very grateful and thankful for all the travel that I've done in my life. I've done so many trips in that kind of a sense. Sea Cadets. I was in Sea Cadets when I was younger, going to summer camps there, and we're going to family camps every year. Hi, Najuma.
Hello, Majuma. How are you?
So yeah, that's what I consider solo travel. Now, this cruise that I just did last month, that was a total solo travel and they had to drop me off at the airport, and I'm all by myself, getting on a big airplane and flying to another airplane place, and then getting off that one and getting on a bus, and then taking a bus over to the other terminal, going through all that security and all that kind of stuff, and weighing your suitcase, and then getting on the plane, flying down to LA, getting off and trying to figure out, okay, now how do I get to my hotel that I had booked on the internet? And then you figure that out. For those that's never been to LAX, it's a very, very, very confusing airport, but I imagine it's no different than any other big major airport, as I've been through quite a few. So it's just not a matter of going outside and saying, oh, there's my shuttle going to my hotel. You have to find out where that place is. And then there's a lot of things to travel that a lot of people don't know about. But I actually love it because that's all part of the adventure. It's you can come back like I'm doing right now. I can come back and tell the story of what it is and what happened. And, you know, how I forgot my GoPro camera at a place where I stayed the night, and now I have to figure out how do I get my camera from that place to here before I have to catch my flight. And my trip coming back after the trip, oh, was it ever adventurous.
Yeah, and then just quick question for you, even though it wasn't in these slide notes, but I'm sure you know the answer to this one.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone from one airport to another airport in the same city, like New York?
Oh, say from New York to New Jersey? No, none of that stuff.
Yeah.
Terminal to terminal, I've done terminal to terminal. That's about it. At Pearson or YVR, Seattle, actually LAX. That's what I had to do because I got it to LAX when I was leaving. I spent the night and got up thinking that I can go to the airport early so I could hang out in a airport lounge all day long. And I got at the airport at 9 o'clock, and my flight didn't leave that night until 7. Well, at that point it was 7:40 something. Um, and then just as I was just waiting in the line, it was came up that it was delayed for till 8 o'clock at that point. But then I got through the lineup just for them to say, you know what, we can't check you in until at least 3 or 4 hours before check-in. So it's like, oh my God, I hear it's 9 o'clock in the morning. What am I going to do all day long, man? I didn't want to waste money going all over the city and trying to figure out what to do. So I thought, okay, you know what? Hey, let's just find a restaurant with some internet and hang out there. And I had to go all the way down to the international terminal because where I was going was way down at the other end. And that was a very long walk with your suitcase and suitcases. Yes. So yes. Oh, who's that? We got a Lance. How you doing, Lance? Look at this. The three Canadians.
Yep, the three Canadians.
Oh, Canada. Canada, eh? How are you, Lance?
Yeah, how are you, Lance?
I was actually thinking about him the other day. It's along the lines of kind of like this travel. I've been wanting to sell this trailer that we live in, mobile home, and move into like an RV. I wanted to do that. Like I wanted to like Blaine, but I want to kind of like make it semi-permanent. But I'm finding out the rules of living permanently in your RV, you're not allowed. And so that just it now in a tiny home. From what I understand, you're allowed to live in that as long as you're fixed to a permanent like a septic. You know what I mean? You can't drain your septics into whatever. And this is what I'm hearing here in BC. So, but yeah, he's got a RV, so it's like, oh, I've been wanting to do some of that. Like I said, semi travel in the RV, but permanently live in it. But I'm finding out that we can't. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you could.
No, unfortunately. Now there's different municipalities will allow certain things and all that, but
Interesting.
a 40-foot park model in Ontario with Canada room attached to an RV park. See, yes, you're allowed to do it in an RV park. But the problem here with me is I want out of this mobile park. I'm tired of paying pad rent and all this other stuff. So in an RV park would be in the same kind of a situation. And that's what I don't want. I want to buy a piece of land. Like I can find, there's some land out here, very cheap land. And I want to get an RV and put it in there and live in that. That way they're low maintenance, just deal with your RV, all that kind of stuff. But that was the thing. But yeah, he lives in an RV park. Oh, I see what he's talking about. Okay. So he uses his Class C as a travel rig, and the 40-foot RV is his house. Oh, okay. Yeah. Hi, John.
Yep.
It is 12:39 p.m. here.
Hello, John.
So, if I can, while we're right there with John, so I can do this, we go back to what we were. Is he saying cheap land in Canada? Where? Cheap is relevant to whoever it is. Like my cheap might be different than your cheap. Out here in British Columbia, I can get land for $25,000. Now it's not big, huge, massive property, but it's still your own land, right? You know what I mean? Actually, there's a town called Lytton that was it was all burnt down from the forest fires last year. Really bad. It demolished the whole town. Yeah, there's a piece of land, 25,000. I'll just answer his one last question. I'm gonna. It's
Yep.
not my show. 25,000. How many acres? So this isn't acres of land. This is like 3/4 of a land, like or 2 3/8. You know what I mean? It's a small little piece. That's all I look for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. We just a little sidetrack, but that's okay with me.
So,
Okay.
more questions for me.
Oh, yeah. I have a whole bunch more questions, Larry. A whole
So
bunch of them.
maybe I'll just tell you a little bit quickly, like an excerpt of what I did. Is that okay?
That sounds perfect enough to me.
So, being a travel agent, we get all these special offers. Basically, like if you've seen other people saying, "Hey, I got this casino offer for this," and it's like a free cruise, or pay this or whatever. So, as a travel agent, we get those same kind of deals without the casino, and so I get offers all the time. So what happened is I had canceled my group cruise in October, and I also, but I had cabin fever, and I really wanted a cruise. And so what happened is when I canceled that group cruise, I got really depressed. And so before that, I was getting all these offers from Carnival. Hey, get this, $100, 7-day cruise or whatever. It's like, ooh, I need to get one of those. But it's like, due to my finances, I'm on long-term disability, and so I saw that canceled our cruise for whatever reason, and I got depressed, and I kept seeing these offers coming in. It's like, I need to get out of here. I need to get out of here. So I bit the bullet, and I jumped on one of the offers, and it was one of those offers you really cannot refuse. You can't. It's for a 7-day cruise, and so I booked it, and so unfortunately at that point, Ananda couldn't go on this because she's not vaxxed. There's a long story explaining why she's not vaxxed, and so booked the cruise, and it was within, I think, a month of it leaving. I think 30 something days. I booked it before, and it's like, maybe I can do it. And so it was at a point where, like the offer, it's like it didn't matter what kind of income you had, you can afford it. So, and I'm not trying to brag or any of that stuff. It's just I'm trying to explain this is what it, you're going to do it, right? And I'm very grateful and thankful that I was able to do it, by the way. And so I did all that stuff, but then you start to get into all these extra things that you don't really think about when you go traveling. Like I've done a lot of travel before, never on a cruise. This was my first cruise ever. But I've done solo cruising many times before, had to book my own travel, all those kinds of things. And it's like, oh gosh, I'm brain freezing. I have ADHD. That's my defense. Give me a second. I'll bring the conversation back. Anyway, so I booked the trip and stuff like that. But Ananda couldn't go. So booking the trip, it started to add up quite a bit, actually. You could have like a free cruise, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's free. You still got to pay gratuities and the taxes on that, right? That's for any kind of offer that you get out there. You still have to pay the gratuities,
correct,
and port fees. And so, but anyway, it was still an offer you couldn't refuse. And so I did that. But sadly, Ananda couldn't come, and that was really tough on me because both of us have not been on a cruise before. And so, sadly, she said, you know what, just go on it, dear. I know how much you want to go. Just go. And I had a hard time with that, but I did it. But it was because I'm a new home-based travel agent. I'm still learning the ropes and all that, and I'm a new YouTuber and stuff like that. So it's not necessarily, you know, it's not that I want to leave her home, but it's good for my channel and good for my business, right? I need to go on a cruise. Plus, it was helping me get rid of my depression because this sea thing has been driving everybody crazy. I know that, and it was really driving me nuts being in a small remote town. And so I go on the cruise, did my thing. We're going to talk about what the cruise is all about. Coming back, like everything about the cruise, every single little detail about the cruise, except for one thing, and I'll say that it was the food that I was not impressed with, but the free food. The specialty restaurants, oh, two thumbs up for everything, every piece of food that I paid for on the cruise besides the free stuff. Perfect 10, except for what do you call it? I gave a perfect 10 to the lava cake or whatever that's called.
Yep, the lava cake.
Yeah. Oh, if I can give it 4 thumbs, I would. It was once I realized that the ice cream that they gave me wasn't like a chaser as you do with like drinking and a chase. No, this was you had to pour that ice cream onto like put a hole in the lava cake and pour that ice cream in there, and then the heat from that lava cake melts it, and all those flavors. Plus, I got the spoon of peanut butter. Oh, oh, highly recommend the lava cake. Highly. Oh my gosh, I want one right now, Rob. And I'm sure you've had it before because it's on
Oh,
multiple different cruise
yeah,
lines too.
yeah. Like when I see it on the menu, I order at least minimum 2.
Yeah, unfortunately for me,
Yeah.
roughly I would say about a week or two before going on this cruise, I started a new medication called Ozempic. It's for diabetes, and it's basically marketed for diabetics, but it's also showing massive results, great results about weight loss. And so they're wanting to start marketing it as weight loss as well. And what it does, it suppresses your appetite. And so I once they told me I was going on, then I realized like no, it's one of the main things I'm going on a cruise for is to get this free food and enjoy it. And no, um, I could barely eat anything. Like I ordered the 18-ounce steak because I normally can eat that, and I only can eat about 12 ounces of it. I couldn't. I had to take it back to my. I didn't even finish it. I don't do leftovers anyway,
Yeah.
and they don't have microwaves. And so that was the one complaint. It was the buffet food and the MDR food wasn't that great quality to me. It's good. It's food. It's what I mean, but it wasn't over the top. Um, but me being a cook for 20 years, I was extremely disappointed in the prime rib because I love prime rib, and that prime rib that I got, I don't want to say too anything bad about Carnival, because I actually love Carnival. I've done so many mock bookings and seen so many videos out there. Carnival is my cup of tea. That's what I like. It's the happy, fun ship. I'm not a big drinker, but I'm also not that luxury traveler either, right? You know what I mean? And so that's what I find with Carnival is it's that, let's go get partying so you can hang out with the partiers. But if you want to relax, you can. And that's one thing about solo cruising. You want to relax,
Yeah.
don't have to worry about the wife going back to the cabin with you to have a nap. You got it all to yourself.
And of course, you also did the steakhouse.
I did the steakhouse the first night because, well, for one, that's my thing. I am a steak lover. That was my number one thing that I want to do. And actually, I'm actually about to book the steakhouse again, Rob, for the October on the first night. Because on the first night, if you book the steakhouse on the first night, you get a free bottle of house wine, not the high-end stuff, but it wasn't bad wine. I'm not no wine drinker or anything, but it was was really good actually with my meal, actually. But I only drank one glass. That was it. I ended up giving it to my room steward when I left. I'm a beer drinker and some hard stuff. That's about all I drink, and I don't even really drink a lot at that, right?
Yeah.
Steakhouse, highly recommended. I actually highly recommend all specialty restaurants. I actually never ate them all, but it doesn't matter. I just got me being a cook, and I understand certain things of how restaurants work and stuff like that. If you're going to have a free restaurant, free food, obviously they're not going to give you the top quality of food. They're not going to. They're going to give you a great product, but they're not going to give you that A5 Wagyu steak for free. They're going to put it in the specialty restaurants where they charge a little bit more, right? And that's what's happening is in the specialty restaurants they'll charge you, right? But it's paying for that extra quality of food, and I like that extra quality of food. Like the buffets and the MDR, it's good food, quote, quote, but it all depends on your taste buds, right? You know what I mean? Just because you said it was the highest quality of food in the MDR, I'm not saying you do say that, doesn't mean it is high quality. It's high quality to you, or, you know what I mean, to the person, right? I have higher expectations for prime rib. In this, like, I don't even want to give it a 2 out of 10. The prime rib. That's how upset I was with the prime rib. Sorry, Rob.
Yep, that's okay. The next question I had was, tell us about your first cruise and where was it to?
All right, just give me a drink. So, my first cruise was to the Mexican Riviera out of Long Beach. It was March 5th till March 12th. And it was going on Carnival Panorama. Actually, here, I'm going to sit back. Here's what it says right there. First time cruiser, Carnival Panorama, Mexican Riviera Cruise, March 5th to March 12th, 2022. So it was going to Mexico. All 3 ports were Mexican ports. So the first stop was Cabo San Lucas. The second port was Mazatlan, and the third port was Puerto Vallarta. And something special about this cruise, and I'm very honored that it happened, is, and I'm wondering, yeah, I can still do that. It was Carnival's 50th birthday. That actual cruise, they were celebrating their 50th birthday, and it wasn't just our ship; it was Carnival Vistas and Miracle, like a bunch of other ships were out there, and so they were doing a meetup at sea. And so the special thing about this cruise, we met up with Carnival Miracle in Ensenada, outside Ensenada, Mexico's cruise port. It was, I don't know what time it was. It was maybe late afternoon, just before sunset. We met up with Carnival Miracle right beside each other, and we're all on the deck waving. I did a live feed on my channel and stuff like that. It was amazing. And sadly, with the live feeds and the internet on cruise ships, and I can't speak for all cruise lines, but what I see a lot of people doing their live feeds on Carnivals and stuff like that, it's not strong. But the one thing I wanted to mention in that is with that meetup, they had a horn battle. And I've never been on Carnival Miracle, but Carnival Panorama was my first. But with the horn battle, it was amazingly funny. I don't know what class Carnival Miracle is. I guess Carnival Panorama, Carnival Vista, and Carnival Horizon, which I'm going on in October, they're all sister ships, and so they're in the same class. But Carnival Miracle's in its own class of another one, I can't remember. But when it came down to do the horn battle, I guarantee you, everyone would have been out of their world laughing their head off, because like with Carnival Panorama, it would be loud, like really, really low and loud and stuff. And then Carnival Miracle doing their horn at pee pee.
Maybe something like this.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, yeah. It was like all of us, could not, like, I was actually standing behind Elisa and Jason from EECC Travels. They were recording as well, and I actually got Jason to say hi on my live feed while we're doing it. Anyway, just all of us, just like, having a hard time
Yeah.
laughing. Oh, Spirit Class. Okay, so that's the smaller, a step lower than the Vista class, from what I understand. I see. At first, me and Ananda, like, we like kind of like quiet, but for me personally, I like quiet or busy, like the big. What is it? Ultra class? No, it's on Royal Caribbean. It's the Oasis, and then what's the top class? Ultra, or
I'm not too sure about Royals.
I can't remember the name of them. Um, Anyways, I got to go back to this thing, like we're saying, where did I go? And it was going back to Long Beach, but I just wanted to show something here. Two things. On the there was a couple groups before going on this cruise that were saying, hey, they had these little souvenirs for the cruise, because it was a Carnival's birthday, and it was the celebration cruise, and it was special, and it was my first one. So what it is, I like to support creatives, and what it was, on the ship, I had found a couple groups, Facebook groups, that was offering souvenirs from the ship, and one of them was this. I don't know if you can really fully see it. It was a celebration bracelet on the Panorama, and I actually have not taken this off since putting it on. Of course, I wash and all that kind of stuff, but I bought one of these, and for me, and one of them for Ananda. And then here's something special. I gotta take it out of the package here. Give me one sec. It is because there's green in this, so I got to be careful. Let's see what we can do here. So somebody had these made. Yeah, you can see it.
Yep, I can see. Very nice.
And then on the back it says Long Beach, Cabo St. Lucas, Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta, Fun Ship Meetup. So this is actual metal. It's an actual metal coin, but it's not like circulated. It's not mint. And I'm okay with that. I wanted something special from the ship. And like I said, I love to support creatives, and I paid $20 for this. And now Carnival had their own merch on there, which, would have been nice to get at. But they didn't have everything at that point. I guess all across, during these meetups, all across the board, not every ship got in their shipment of birthday merch that they were going to sell out. They did eventually. Like, I wanted a celebration lanyard, but all I could get was Carnival Panorama inaugural season lanyard. But I wanted to had some that was like the 50th birthday celebration, but they were only given out in the casino, and at that point I was not a casino player, so I never got one of those. So merchandise was really hard to get. And then they were selling these I don't know if they were crystal cruise ship models, and I think they were $100 something. And Ananda wouldn't want me to buy that kind of stuff. She, I was limited on what I could spend my money on. Anyway, from what I'm hearing now, they were selling on eBay for $1,000. And so for me, and that's why I'm mentioning this, where'd my coin go? Anyway, with the coin, I didn't buy it for, because it's, oh, I can get money for it. This isn't about buying it for money. This is my very first cruise I ever went on. I want to keep that as a keepsake. It's not about buying it so I can make profit off of it. And there was a lot of people doing that. It was really sad. So yeah, that was my thing. It was, yeah, to those ports. But I can tell you more about the ports if that's what you're looking at, or if you have more questions.
Yep. Okay. And then the next one was, of course, shouldn't really be a question, but I just put it in there for the fun sakes. Is cruising alone fun?
For me, it was totally fun in this situation for me. Okay, for one, it was my first. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, I've seen probably thousands of videos of cruising. Thousands. I've been watching YouTube since September of 2009. And Lolita Loca, Tony and Jenny from Lolita Loca was my first channel I started watching with cruising, right? And so you start binge watching. When I first started, I was spending, I'm going to say, between 50 and 60 hours a week going through all the videos and going through lives and hanging out and all that kind of stuff. And so I've seen so many videos. And so a lot of it's got to do with, going with your husband or your wife or a group and all that. So I've learned a lot about cruising. But you really can't get an idea how it is until you're on that ship. And that's what I found. That for me, this was me, right? And so at first, I was saying this, at first, I was quite nervous of the unknown, right? Like what you're going to do. They say this or they said that. And if you do this, it's going to be this. Or, hey, you can try this, or whatever the case may be. Just to add in there, like, I'm not necessarily an excursion guy. Really, I'm not. Some of them, not all, some of the prices that they charge for what they give you, to me, it's just not worth the money. Give you an example. I paid what, $140 when we got married back in 2014 for our wedding. I sent Ananda and her mom. Well, I didn't pay for the mom, but I sent Ananda to go with her mom to swimming with the dolphins. For one, we were late. Like they were late picking us up at the hotel. Get there, we'll rush through the doors and rush through the excursion, and like you don't get anything other than, I don't know how long it was. How long was that, love? 30 minutes. $150 for 30 minutes of not always, you know what I mean? Because you had to wait for other people in the group to get their teams, pushing her through the water and stuff like that. Yeah, it's cool. Like, and it was, she says it's worth it. But for me, no. Now, if it was a shark pushing me with its nose, whoo, yeah, I'll pay $200. You know me, Rob. I like my sharks.
Yeah, you love your sharks.
And so a lot of these excursions, I think, are way overpriced. So I don't do excursions. And so I like exploring and hanging out. And really what I was doing, I was trying to look for things to shop for. But when I go shopping, it takes me a hard time to say, you know what? Yeah, I'll buy it. Like I bought this hat. I bought another hat and sunscreen. That's the only shopping I did during this cruise. But it's just me exploring. Well, for one, when you're on a cruise, you're limited on time, right? And I didn't want to be rushed. Like that's what it is. Because when we went to Mexico for a wedding, you're at your hotel, which would be considered your cruise, but then you go out during the day and you have the time. You don't have to rush back to the ship and be one of those pier runners that I saw in Mazatlan, which was really cool, man. Got to see my first cruise or pier runners. And if you want to see it, it's on my my TikTok. Anyway, No, I lost train of thought by saying that. So with excursions, yeah, I just like exploring the ports, and I explored all three ports. I didn't do nothing. I got off in Cabo, took the what do you call it in the tender into the town, and of course it's all like once you get off that tender, you're right in shopping town with all the vendors, and they're amigo, come here, amigo, no gracias, no gracias, no gracias. And so yeah, and I was only in Cabo for gosh maybe 2 to 3 hours, and then I went back to the ship, and then you get on the ship, you do your thing, and the next port was Mazatlan. And that at that point, I didn't want to know anything about Mazatlan. I didn't do no research. Like I'll tell you right now, I've seen so many videos of all these cruise ports that I can tell you what it looks like, what colors on the buildings and everything, in all these ports that everybody's been to. Whereas Mazatlan, I didn't know zero, nothing, and I wanted it to be special, like just so I can say that, right? You know what I mean? And so when I got to Mazatlan, believe it or not, Mazatlan was my favorite out of the whole trip was Mazatlan. You get off the ship and you had to take the trolley over to it's an actual working uh, uh, container shipyard where they bring in a lot of containers off the ships. So you have to take this little train trolley over to the gate, and they let you out, and there's a little shopping area, and then then you're bombarded with 12 million taxi cab drivers. And now again, there's certain names for these special cabs that they have there. The little dune bug or Volkswagen bug converted open air things.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I took that, and it was like $12 to this place called the Gold Zone. And all I wanted to do is just walk around Mazatlan. They do, as you get off the ship, have a thing called, I think it's called the Blue Line, where it's like a 3 hour walk. You follow this line, and it brings you through this different areas close to the ship, and it's free, I guess. And I didn't want that. I wanted to do some shopping, and what I was really looking for, where I live here in Powell River, it's hard getting clothing for me because I'm such a big size. So I wanted to get some, really tropical clothing, like a bigger shirt, like a Hawaiian shirt. But, well, spoiler alert, I never found anything other than in Puerto Vallarta, and they wanted over $100 for these. They were really nice shirts, but I wasn't spending $100 on these. Actually, they were actually Cuban from Cuba, these shirts, but they were really, and they wanted like 13 to say 2,000 pesos for these shirts, but it's like nah. So Mazatlan, I loved it because I wanted to get the feel of a traditional, not traditional, but an authentic feel of being in Mexico, like I'm staying in Mexico, right? I didn't really want to do the tourist things. I wanted to, explore. And so in Mazatlan, there's a lot of and in this area that I was taken to, it's an old part of Mazatlan, not the Miami looking high rise condos looking Mazatlan. This was the old part of Mazatlan, and I loved it. It was like you're walking down the street, it's like you're in Spain at these old buildings, and they're falling apart, and the smell from like the plaster breaking off the wall. I like that. That's a really old, colonial style stuff. I love it. And so that's what I got. I went to this cathedral in the main town, and took some pictures there, and then I went and had some breakfast. I had my Revo Rancheros, which was out of this world. Had a Swiss or a mocha. I love mochas, and it was the best mocha I ever had in my life. Like out of this world, it was amazing. And it was I think it was 190 pesos total for my breakfast and this huge mocha. It was amazing. Ironically, everybody sees in the news how it's been dangerous in Mexico. People getting shot and killed and stuff like that. Ironically, while I was at this cafe, and it looked pretty safe to me, but while I was sitting down and having this breakfast, I was doing a live feed with Ananda, and all of a sudden, the police started showing up behind me with their guns all out and everything, not shooting, but they rushed out of their vehicles. Like there was like 4 or 5 trucks, the Mexican policia or whatever, all with their machine guns getting in and going inside of this building. And so it's like, oh my God. And me, when I travel, I mind my business. And that's just street etiquette that I've learned, mind your business. Right. And so when that was going on behind me, I'm sitting there saying, and then like, what's going on? And I'm showing her behind me. So I didn't have to turn around and look. But that being said, it was fine. Like there was no gunshots or anything. And then I go and it looked like it was a bank. And so I don't know if it was a bank robbery going down or anything. I had no clue, but it wasn't bad. Like it's like, again, it's I like this stuff. Now I can come and tell a story to people, right? You know what I mean? It didn't bother me. I'm not afraid of that stuff because it can happen anywhere. It can happen in Canada. Even in Powell River, we had people get shot and killed here, right? So I'm not going to let stuff like that, which you see in the news and the media saying, no, it's dangerous in Mexico, man. Yeah, it's dangerous everywhere you go, right? So anyway, that was just a little of my thing.
Yep. All right. So next up on this, I'm going to share some information on the screen. If you are interested, we do have a Facebook, PayPal. If you want to PayPal me, become a Patreon. Wherever you are, I'll leave it up on the screen for a bit, and we will move on to the next question. The next question is, do you have any tips you would give to solo cruisers?
Okay, one of my favorites, and I've been sharing this on a few of the groups that I'm on, Carnival Panoramas and Carnival Tips and Tricks. I think for me to say my tip is don't go into it over expecting and overthinking of what you're going to need. Including myself, you overpack and all this kind of stuff. What do I need for formal night? And what's my room what does my room look like? Now, there's nothing wrong with having those kinds of thoughts. That's not what I'm meaning. Is a lot of new cruisers, they overthink it and think way too many things. And then by the time you get on there, it kind of ruins it for a lot of them. You know what I mean? Whereas me, I did what I did. I brought a lot, and some would say, holy geez, that's a lot of stuff. Like, I'll bet you I brought, I'm going to say 20 to 25 t-shirts. And some would say, holy God, Larry, why do you have so many shirts, man? You just do this or do that or put it in laundry. It's like send it out in the laundry or do your own laundry. Well, that's, for me, that's a lot of thing when I could be out enjoying other things that, that comes with cruising. And so I just went with the flow. I didn't want to do, that's why I didn't do any excursions. And I'm talking about the first, like, because your topic is first time solo cruisers. The thing is you don't want to get overwhelmed with everything that is with cruising all on your first cruise. And that's what's happening. Oh, what do I do? Or what do I need to wear? Right? So the topic of formal night. Okay, what do I need to wear for formal night? Well, if it's that big of a deal for you, you don't have to go to formal night. You don't have to go to the MDR. You can go to the buffet every night if you want to. It's just on those nights, they require certain ways of dress. Well, if that's the case, we'll go to the buffet on that night. You know what I mean? Right? But they overthink. Oh, I'm going to do that, and then they get on there, and it, well, for one, it changes their thoughts. It's like, oh, okay, that's what it is, and that's what happened to me. I overthought about overpacking. Don't do this, and you're going to need this dress suit, and I spent, before I went on this cruise, I'm going to say 3 or 4 days in total trying to find dress pants and dress shirts and shoes and everything. And I spent money that I didn't really need to if I didn't want to. I didn't have to go to the main dining room. I didn't have to go to the steakhouse in the clothing that I got. I actually had clothing that would have been okay, like a pair of casual pants, closed-toed shoes, and a t-shirt. There was people in t-shirts going to the steakhouse, right? You know what I mean? And so most new cruisers, even solo cruisers, are overthinking that first time going on a cruise, and you don't need to. Just go. You can ask those questions, but just know that it's not important. It's not the top priority of going on that cruise, other than going on that cruise and experiencing what it offers. Even if you don't know the answer, experience. That's the adventure of travel. Is, oh God, now I don't know where to find this. Instead of going into it expecting, well, no, the video said this door will allow me out into this one or whatever. Like, okay, fine, but don't make it a point where it's just gonna, disappoint you. Just go and enjoy it. And that's, for me, I went with that kind of attitude, and I loved it. Even though I've seen thousands of videos of what to expect. Now it was just, okay. What am I doing today? Okay. Oh, we're in Puerto Vallarta today. Oh, okay. Well, what am I doing? Okay, I want to do shopping. Okay, right. And then you have, okay, I got to go get breakfast. What do I want to eat? Right. I'm not sitting there putting every little thing in my planner. Okay, at 7 o'clock I got to do that. No, 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 no. And I enjoyed it.
Yep.
But now again, this is my first cruise. Do you know what I mean? I'm talking about the first cruise ever. Don't overwhelm yourself with so many things that you're going to be exploded by the time and disappointed because it didn't happen. Right? But
Yeah.
to answer your question, solo cruising, man, I highly recommend it. Trying it once in a while instead of just, I'm married and I want to do everything with my wife, but really, it was out of this world. And I'll be honest with you. I'll confess. I got the $100 top tiered internet, so I can Facebook Messenger video message my wife every night, and that's what I did. So it wasn't like I wasn't without her. I was on video chat with her, stuff like that. So you can still do that, right? But I highly recommend solo cruising, man. Really. Yeah. What sucks is the price, but now because of the deal and me being a travel agent, and it was an actual travel agent rate. I didn't pay what you would pay as a single. I got it as basically like the single price. One as one. I rather not say the price what I paid, but I didn't pay the double price that a single would pay, because that's what happens when you're a single. You pay almost double the price because the cabins are meant as two people. Well, because my rate was so low, it was less than actual one single person.
Yeah, which pretty much covers the next question is how do you decide to go on this cruise? We kind of covered that in a bit.
Kind of, yeah. Again, I wanted to go on this cruise. I actually started out thinking, okay, because I canceled the October cruise because we couldn't afford it, but it was because two of us were going to go. And what it was, in the beginning, I booked a balcony, which was more expensive than an interior. Now, if I was able to drop it back down to an interior, we possibly could have afforded to go. But due to the way I purchased this cruise, I couldn't downgrade. So I was stuck paying for an interior cabin. And at that point, we had already spent, put, over half of the payment down. And so we started doing some more finances, realizing no. So we canceled, and we got all that money that I had put into it back. Well, when I see the agent rate that they offered, well, I had already had money that I had already put down. So it's not that anything about affording. It was, I already have the money paid into the October cruise, which I could use to pay for the March cruise, right? And so that's what happened. I used the money that I had on my group cruise in October and bought the March one. But now I'm actually back on the group cruise in October, but it's a different situation. And I'm going to be staying with Dewey at his house. I'm flying in on October 12th. The cruise is on the 15th. We're going to go to the Meetup the night before, and I'm leaving on the 24th. So now, so I was able to do both now. But Ananda's not going in October because I haven't mentioned it here, is coming back from my cruise. I ended up in a car accident, and I ended up with COVID, and I get home, but I didn't realize that I had COVID at the point. And when I got home, I had a small little tickle in my throat, but it's no different than any other cold that you had. And I wasn't really. I guess I was saying, you know what, I don't want this to be COVID, but there was nothing really going on. And what it was doing is I wanted to get home so I didn't have to spend all this other money, although I had travel insurance that would allow me to stay. I didn't want all those hiccups of having to stay there in quarantine and stuff like that. And I had my mask, everything, wash my hands. And so I get home and I test, and it turns out that I'm positive. Because in order to get back into Canada, you have to do it. You had to do a test to get back into Canada, and it came back negative after the cruise. Do you know what I mean? So you're not thinking, "Hey, I don't got COVID," right? So you get home. So I did the test. It was positive, and by that time it was too late, which I then passed it on to Ananda. And a couple days later, after me doing my test, she tests, and it turns out positive. And then she starts getting it, and we both started developing troubles with our breathing. Not so much me, but with her's got under control, where she had to go in the hospital, and then she spent 6 days in the hospital, and now we're pretty much back to normal. She's still dealing with a few things and stuff, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the next question is tell us about your channel and when you go live and any videos coming out.
So the purpose for my channel is, just give me one sec. Ananda and I, okay, so my last job, I was an outreach worker. And then previous to that, I was what they call a front desk support worker, which is a glorified security guard. But part of our job was to interact with clients in the building, a homeless shelter. I worked at a homeless shelter. And it was a huge one. There was over 200 and something clients and residents in this. It was a residential building. I also worked with halfway house residents, like getting out of prisons and stuff like that. But my job was to basically support clients and residents. And what I mean by that is basically talking to them and giving them some positive words of encouragement, referrals. Like I wasn't qualified to say, well, you should go do this if they're like complaining about that they're drinking too much. I wasn't qualified to say, hey, go to this. I think you should do this. But I was allowed to say, like, as they can come up to me and say, hey, Laird, how I can get into treatment. I do know that, and I was qualified to say, hey, if you call this number, they'll get you in here, whatever, right? So that was my first job previous to that. And then I moved to Powell River. Then I got a job as an outreach worker, but I was working part-time doing this. And I worked with a lot of homeless and addictions here in Powell River. But Ananda was also volunteering with me, because at that point she was already on permanent disability, but she could volunteer, and that's what she was doing. So we were both working as a team, working with addictive and homeless people here. And so, but out of all of that, it was about encouragement, trying to encourage and help others to say, instead of feeling down in luck and all hope was lost because they're homeless, it was kind of part of our job was to help to inspire them to, what, hey, I understand what you're going through. Hey, what if you went to see this, or what if you do this, or whatever? It was basically inspiring people, really, is what my job was. That's all you're really doing. You're loving people and trying to encourage them to do it. So, to go back to what you're asking, my channel is about inspiration. And Ann and I both love travel. And we thought, because we're both disabled, why not to go out and travel, because we were planning on getting back into travel because we haven't traveled since we got married in 2014. Let's go travel. And while we're doing it, we record our videos and of our travels and just showing them, hey, me and Anna's disabled. We're on long-term disability. We both suffer from chronic pain and some physical stuff, some mental stuff, all that. And what better way to inspire others? Because we know, and we've met people that are afraid to travel. And it was also because we're both fluffy people, friendly people, plump. And a lot of plump people refuse to travel because of all the stuff that happens on some of the airlines where, I don't want to sit next to them. They're too big. And there's a lot of YouTube channel or videos out there showing that kind of stuff happening. And our goal is to go out and go through what they were going through, but to show them how we got through it, and maybe possible inspire them to get back out and travel. And that's what our channel is all about, is inspiring others to get out there and travel that have some disabilities, that are big people or have mental health issues or whatever. And yeah, so my channel right now I've stopped because we were still dealing with COVID for a while, because it's called long haul COVID and very unenergetic. I'm actually dealing with some mental health issues myself and other things that I'm dealing with. So I'm not really motivated to get back to my channel stuff right now. I'm trying to, and coming live with you, Rob. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
This is helping me, believe it or not. You're doing what I'm trying to do to others. By me coming on talking to you, that opens up things for me. It's like, oh, okay, now I'm back in the mood of doing YouTube again, right? So then that encourages me to continue on what I do. Because I'm not saying my life's perfect and you got to watch me because my life's perfect and I'm going on cruise ships and I'm going to make you jealous. This isn't it. It's about knowing the fact, because eventually I want to start talking about mental health issues and chronic pain issues, all those kinds of things, and bring that into my channel to help those that are dealing with it also, so they can travel, like I was saying, right? And so eventually I'm going to get into really what my channel is. Right now it's just going on my cruise, and I'm not doing no vlogging like a lot of them are. For one, that was my first cruise, and I had no way of fully understanding what was going to happen for my cruise, and I didn't want to be overwhelmed videoing. So, yeah.
Okay, and then the following question, you've pretty much answered it, is if you have anything upcoming on your channel. Right now, like you mentioned, you're taking a break, but slowly working your way back into it.
Yeah. As that's for the live feeds. I used to do a live feed talk show. And again, so with YouTube, you don't want to go out into this big, huge world and talking about everything and anything. It needs to be travel related. Well, for one, I don't get out and travel like a lot of people do. I'm not saying everybody travels a lot. That's what I was meaning. But it's hard coming up with content living in a very small remote town that's landlocked. It really is. If you go on my channel, you'll see a lot of Powell River videos and stuff like that, or us going on ferry rides to Vancouver stuff. So we're not as active as a lot of cruise channels. So long story short, it's really hard for me to come up with content in that regards until I'm fully ready start talking about other things, like I'm saying, mental health issues. I'm not ready for that part yet. And so I've been relying on our travel, and I was relying fully on travel to make this YouTube channel. But then everyone knows everything happened, and then travel went bye-bye for a long time. And so that really got rid of our ability to come up with content, because we were just going to keep traveling, me and Anna, and that's what it was planned to do. But this thing has changed everything so dramatically that, it's put pressure on a lot of YouTube channels to come up with certain content, right? Anybody can go out there and record a ship going out at sea and say, hey, there's the cruise ship going out to sea. That's not really content. That's just you showing off you going on a cruise. I am working at trying to incorporate that inspiration into my YouTube videos. I'm trying to figure out how to do all that while still at it, learning how to edit videos, all those things. Like it's not as simple as taking your camera and shooting. That's not YouTube, creating YouTube videos. That's not what it is. Putting things together, making a story, and making it valuable to the viewer. You know, most of the time you're just taking a video. A lot of people are just taking videos of their trips and just showing it to people. Yeah, it's nice that you went on your trip. So, but what's that doing for me? That you went on that nice trip to Cabo San Lucas, right? You know what I mean? And so I'm still trying to learn how to incorporate all those things so I can be unique. And that's the key thing with YouTube is in order to start growing, you need to be unique from others, right? And so that's what's going on with my channel. But I do have some video I got from this my first cruise, but it's not going to be, you know, your typical stereotypical vlogging. Okay, today I'm going out and doing this 26 excursions on this day, and then tomorrow I'm going on this one. And my channel's not about doing all of that. My channel's all about showing you that yes, we can still have disabilities and all that kind of stuff, but still have fun on a cruise. We can still go on them, right? You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The next thing on the agenda is I try to typically do one per month, of course, if I can, but I do have a mailing address. If you guys do want to send mail my direction, that's the mailing address. Like I said, I do open up packages, your mail that you send me.
Rob, you want me to send this to you?
If you would like to, by all means.
No. Actually, I actually got to do that today. It's actually going to, for those that don't know, this is from a YouTube channel. I don't think they can see the address. Good. This is called from a YouTube channel called Beach Please. Betsy and Mike. Awesome channel, very funny, crazy. She has different drinks all the time, you know, shots and all that. Anyway, what they do, they have this thing where they're sending this special thing inside this envelope. And without spoiling it, you got to do something special to it, and then they will tell you who to send it to next. So they have already told me who this is going to next, and it is to the Cruise World, Mark and Stephanie from the Cruise World. So that's who's going to be getting this next. So I already got their address. I got to put that on there and then send it to them. And then if it's sent to you, then you got to send that out to somebody else. So that was exciting when they sent it to me, and I think it's cool. So there's Rob's address. Yeah.
Yep. So this is my address. If you want to send something to me, I will open it here live on one of my live streams.
And same with me. Small little short plug, because you are interviewing me, Rob.
Yeah.
Short little plug. If you want to send me anything, all my information, every single bit of information is in my about. All my YouTubes, all my Instagrams, all my Facebooks, all my TikToks, all my PayPals. My address is in there. Yeah.
Yep. And of course, all my information is in all my videos, lives. And if it's not in the about section, it will be there.
Meg is asking the special use thing. Yeah. Meg, I think you're part of
Beach Please.
The Beach Please community. Come on, you know what's inside that envelope. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Keep it secret.
So we'll just say hello to a couple more quick people that did pop in that I noticed. Mr. Paul Vine has
Hi, Paul.
Popped on in. And,
Paul's got his new channel now, or new community going on right now too.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's all so far that's new that has popped on in.
You got Najuma, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, John, did you see John?
Yeah, I saw John. I said hello to John already. But hello again, if I didn't say hello.
Yes. Hey, Mr. Paul, drive safely. Yes, Paul.
Yep, so I'll leave that information up there for a little while.
Oh, Meg asked a question up top there, Rob.
Pardon me?
Meg asked a question.
This one here? The special use thing?
Up above.
Meg. Up did you ever figure out the activities on the group cruise?
Rob can answer that, can he?
Oh, totally. But I have sworn oath that I will not say what it is.
You know what, Rob? And Meg, I actually know a couple activities.
Because if the person finds out I've told you what they are, I don't know what they'll do. And I think some of us know, if not all, who that person is. Just for some reason, they're not in the live stream right now.
Yeah, what's up with that? It's only, is it there like 8 o'clock there?
4 plus the 2. Nope, because that'd be 4 in the morning plus the 2 would be 5, 6 in the morning. 6:35 right now over there. Because they're 14 hours ahead of me.
Speaking of sharing and caring, I owe Najuma a couple drinks. Although she drinks what I drink.
Yep. So we'll move on to the final question.
The final one? I was just getting started.
The final. Well, hey, we could always bring you back and come up with more questions and do a part 2.
I can answer anything you want about solo cruising.
Oh, solo cruising. But this one?
I'm an expert.
No. The question is, would you do a solo cruise again?
Love? Can I do it? Rob's asking me, can I do another solo group cruise or solo cruise? See, she says I can go ahead.
No, you already are.
When? I'm not going on a solo cruise. I'm going on a group cruise.
Oh, okay.
That's with Dewey. I'm staying in Dewey's cabin, right? You know,
right.
So that's not a solo.
Oh. Well,
so that means going on one of these cruises all by myself.
Only if I'm going on one all by myself.
Well, I told you to. Meg, you want to go on a cruise with my wife? That way there I can go to Alaska for... by the way, I was talking about travel agent rates. Right now, I'm getting many offers, which is basically the same offer I got to go on the cruise down to Mexico to go up to Alaska. But unfortunately, financially, I can't go. Sadly, you know, some homeowners have to do certain things to their home to make sure it's nice, and we're getting a roof replaced on our house, so I can't go.
Yeah.
I want to go because these are really good prices. And again, this is not a brag or anything. What it is, it's like I encourage people, if you want to, you know, get some good perks with cruising, become a travel agent. If you love travel and you have lots of friends that travel, you never know. Part-time, you can do it part-time at home. That's what I do.
Okay, and I set up the game because I do have a round of 2 games that we can play.
You start doing games. I've never played games on your channel before.
Well, I temporarily stopped doing it for a while, and I'm slowly bringing it back, Larry.
One sec, Rob. Najuma asked a question down there, and I wanted to get it before my wife gets too busy. Love. So Najuma saying, Larry, you have to send Ananda on a cruise with me and Meg. The girls group cruise. You want to do it? Hey, I'm a TA. I'll book you into the cruise.
Yep. So while I'm playing a couple short clips for you all, if you do have another device set up, and we will play 2 rounds of Menti. So just let me set up.
Now, see, Rob, you did it. You put me on the spot because I have no clue what you're talking about.
Well, don't worry. Don't worry. I will put up the information.
Are you gonna hold my hand, Rob?
Yes, I will hold your hand.
Thank you for holding my hand, Robbie.
I will walk you. I'll walk you through. I'll walk you through the game. All right. Well, I set all the that up. Just if you do have a second device, that would be great, and we can play that game.
While you're doing that, Najuma and Meg, I can't see why that happening in the future. Not recent future, but or sorry, coming up close, but in the future, maybe, yeah, that could happen. And Andy, you would go on a girls group cruise, wouldn't you? Love? Would you ever go on a girls group cruise? Yeah, see? She said she would. So Roger's showing me your email? I don't want to see your private
No.
email, Rob.
Oh, well, I clicked on the wrong one. Give me a break, please.
Jeez. Thankfully, it's not your
Give
porn
me a
link.
break.
Thankfully, it's not one of those porn links.
No, I clicked on the wrong screen. That's how old I've been not doing this for. There we are. There we are. There we are. All right, here we go.
Oh, that looks like a video.
It is a video.
Oh.
Larry keeps on talking about.
Do you mind if I say a few things more?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, 3 things or 4 things. I think it is 4 things. One, it says Meg says, "Why not go together?" Is that meant as for me and my wife going together because we hate traveling together. We want to kill each other when we go travel. She wants her own bed. So whenever we travel, Ananda wants her own queen bed while I have to take the other queen bed. I'm kidding. You're funny, love. No, so Ananda's not vaxxed right now.
Like to travel.
And I'll just say a quick version of why she's not vaxxed. Every time has dealt with this kind of thing, getting like injections, like whatever, she's always gotten really sick, and there's been times where she ended up in hospital and all that kind of stuff. She was afraid to take it, and it's not that she's against it or anything, but then she ended up in the hospital and got COVID and almost died because, like one might say, well, okay, she's still breathing in the hospital, stuff like that. No, this could have killed both of us. COVID can still kill people, even though it's a cold, like a lot of people are saying, or a small little flu, it can still kill you. But I personally don't believe that it's as bad as it was in the beginning, because it's like a strain. It's like you're getting a diluted virus, so you're not going to get the same kind of thing, the effect as the first drink that you took, right? So Ananda's not vaxxed right now, but she has to wait a few months. She was told by the doctor in the hospital she has to wait a few months before she can get vaxxed. And so she said, yeah, she's going to get vaxxed. So it's going to be a while. And it's too much right now to go get it done. She doesn't have her passport either yet. So, like, that's a lot of pressure and all that kind of stuff. So that's one thing. Sorry? And she hasn't, because of long haul COVID, it still takes a lot out of you. I experience a little bit here and there, right? So, and I got rid of that. What's this? April, March. So over a month ago, we've had this, and we're still dealing with the effects of COVID. Now we're negative. We both tested negative. We get tests here. So that's why Ananda's not going with us. Believe me, I love traveling with Ananda. We're best friends. We fell in love. What it was is I met her in what was it? I think it was January. January of 2012. We met, and my niece at that point had already invited me to go to her wedding in Mexico. And so I was all ready to go to this wedding and saying, yeah, I was. And so I was single. And so I brought her with me 3 months after meeting her. And while we were there, we got in a big argument. Long story. It's not important, like the story why. So, but that's where we fell in love. And then, was it 2 years later? 2 years later, we went back and got married at the same place. And so Ananda and I, and that's what I was saying earlier, Ananda and I are getting back into travel because that's the last time we traveled together. But we both are passionate about travel. We love travel. Ananda went when she was 17 with a friend, after school and stuff, and did the backpacking in Europe and all that. I haven't, but so we're all really into travel. So Jen and I wants to travel. So eventually we're going to get back out and traveling. My number one bucket list is to go to the Philippines for at least a month. So there was that I wanted to say. Two, I highly recommend the itinerary in Mexico. And the reason is my number one thing about travel is I believe it is important that we all get away from where we are born, to explore this world, to explore what's out there. Life isn't about what's happening right in your town. Yes, at that moment, yes, of course. But to really say you got to grasp on life, you need to understand what the Japanese people culture is like, right? For example, living in Vancouver, population, I'm going to say the Metro Vancouver population is 2 million, I think it is. Anyway, there's a lot of multicultural things going on in Vancouver. And when I come from a small town, like which is mainly white, you had a couple Asian families and some black families and stuff like that. All I knew at that point before leaving is St. John and what life in St. John's all about. Well, then coming out to Vancouver, I moved to Vancouver in 2005. Um, you start seeing a lot of things that are different than what you're used to. And one of these was the Asian culture. And again, nothing against any cultures. I love all of human race, the whole human race. I have no racist thing in my bone at all. And so when I got to Vancouver, a lot of the personality and a lot of behaviors that Canadians, the stereotypical Canadian does, is when you go towards a door, you hold it open, but you always kind of look and see if somebody else is coming behind you to see if you need to hold the door and let them come in behind you. It's like a courtesy thing. There's no written rule or anything that you have to hold a door for somebody, but it's like a courtesy thing here in Canada, for the most part, of course. And so what I found in Vancouver, and it was mainly this Asian culture, not just Japanese or anything. It was the Asian culture where you would go and they would walk through the door and not even look, and the door closes in your face. It's like, oh, well, thank you. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's a white thing or if it's a culture thing. I don't know, but it's just something that I grew up in St. John, not being around culture. Well, little did I realize that after time, over the years of being around them all the time, I used to get mad in the beginning, but then I realized and started seeing things and research and stuff like that. Well, take Japan for example, Tokyo. How many people are in the one town, Tokyo, Japan? 24 million people, I think. I don't know. That's just a guess right now. 24 million people in Tokyo. Do you really think they have enough time to sit there and say, "Oh, here's the door for you, sir"? No. It's like where you live in Ontario, Rob. That's a busy city. You know what I mean?
Correct.
They don't have time. Most people don't have time to hold that door in their countries where they're from. So they come here to Canada, and they're just used to it. So should I get pissed off because they didn't hold the door in front of me like I used to? No. It's just just understand that's how it's outside of who we are and where we're from. So to bring it back into the point of what I'm making is travel. I think it's important that we all get out and explore the world. Not travel the world, but just get outside of where we're from so we can, instead of being so gung-ho about, no, my feelings are these Asian people are mean, they're wrong, they should come to Canada and screw them, they should go back to their country. Well, go experience life outside of who you think, and then you start to get to see, Now, of course, you don't want to like a culture. That's your choice too. I disagree, but hey. But so yeah, I wanted to mention that. So I was bringing up Mexico. Oh, this is where I was going with that. It was with I recommend going down to the Mexican Riviera. A lot of people look at cruising south, going to the Caribbean. Everybody raised, I got to go to the, whatever, Ocho Rios, got to go to, everybody loves the heat and that tropical stuff down in the Caribbean. Everyone you talk to, but you rarely hear them talk about the coast. Like, I'm guilty of something here. Is when we got married in the Mayan Riviera in the Caribbean, you know, we were thinking, "Ew, I don't want to go to the West Coast. The water's all cold," because I live on the Pacific Ocean. It's all cold, and you know, you can't snorkel. You don't see much. Well, yeah, you can. You know, yeah, the water's not, you know, your typical clear blue and stuff like that, like in the Caribbean. Okay, fine, right? But it still can be warm down on the Pacific Ocean, but it's just different. The cultures are different, kind of, right? You know, and that's what I was getting at. Is I think it's important that we all experience something outside what we're used to. And I just recommend this itinerary going down in this other itinerary, which is on Carnival Radiance, I think it is, Ensenada, Catalina. Get out there and explore that whole area as well. It's totally amazing. The difference in cultures, the difference in states. I guess that's how Mexico does their things. And so, yeah, I just recommend people going down the Mexican Riviera. Just really get out there. And truthfully, it's actually one of the cheaper cruises to get on. Like when you're looking at typical prices for cruises, the Mexican Riviera is cheap. Not because I got a travel agent, right? It's not as popular as everything else. And it's not as hot. Well, how do I say it? I went in March, so it was cool. And a lot of people that prefer the warm tropical weather, you're not going to enjoy that part. But hey, go down during the rainy season in Mexico, which is, I think it's November till May. No, wait, I can't remember the rainy season, but during the summer, it's I'm sure it's nice down there. I don't know. When I went there, March, we left Long Beach. It was high 50s to mid to low 60s when we left Long Beach. When we get into Mexico, which, like I said, all three ports were Mexico, it was into the low to high 70s, which for Canadians, Celsius, that's roughly 21, 20, you know what I mean? 22 Celsius, right?
Perfect weather.
Yeah, it's perfect for us, right? You know what I mean? But at night it got chilly, right? And I actually never got to swim at all through this whole cruise, but I'm okay with that, right? Next time I do it, I know maybe I'll go find a day pass at one of the resorts and do that, you know what I mean? And so, yes, in March it was cool, but I recommend the warmer weather months to go do that. Right? You know, and I'm just trying to sell that whole area down there. It's amazing. Mazatlan's got all these different beautiful things. Like I said, I was in the old part, but they have the newer part, what looks like Miami, way off with the beach and stuff. They have beaches and everything's pretty cheap down there, man. Like I said, 190 pesos for breakfast, but that was in a tourist area. 190 pesos is like $8 for a full breakfast. Well, the regular rancheros, huge plate, and a big mocha, which here, that's a typical price, you know, here in North America. But down there, yes, it was slightly higher, but it was amazing. Like, it was $8, and I don't mind paying $8 for a great breakfast. You know, you can go to those cheaper places and get the whole breakfast for, under $5, but you're not going to get that. And so anyway, that's what I wanted to say about that. There was one other thing, but I forgot it.
That's okay. We sure will cover it in a following live stream when you think about it. All right. The last video I want to share is also associated with the group cruise. Let's roll that back. If it wants to go back, of course. Okay, it doesn't want to go back.
This is helping making dreams come true.
Helping hands for cruising, cruising. Helping hands for cruising, cruising.
change about. Don't let anything stop you thinking you can't go all out. You can do the things you never thought were possible with helping hands to help you get there. Even oceans are no obstacle. You wanna see the world, but something always holds you back. You got that itching feeling, but your dreams got hijacked. There's lots of people out there that never get to cruise, but helping hands is helping making dreams come true.
Helping hands for cruising, cruising. Helping hands for cruising, cruising. Helping hands for cruising. Making your dream a reality.
So if you ever dreamed about taking a cruise in one of them big old boats, soaking up that sun, feel that breeze, yeah, there is still hope. Don't let the ocean be a notion that is out of reach. Let's get together, help each other, and go see the sea. You wanna see the world, but something always holds you back. You've got that itching feeling, but your dreams got hijacked. There's lots of people out there that never get to cruise, but helping hands is helping making dreams come true.
Helping hands for cruising, cruising. Helping hands for cruising, cruising. Helping hands for cruising. Making your dream a reality. Yeah. Helping hands for cruising, cruising. Helping hands for cruising, cruising. Helping hands for cruising. Making your dream a reality.
Yeah.
What a fantastic charity to be part of, donate to.
Our
And that
friend
video,
Kenny, can't wait to meet our friend Kenny on this cruise.
yeah.
There we go.
And of course that video was also made by
Fat Matt Adventures.
Fat Man Adventures.
Go check him out. He's a cruiser. He's actually might be going on the cruise, him and his wife. I don't know for sure, but there was talk that he might be going. Yeah. There's one thing I wanted to say before we finish up, Rob, but I'll wait till you do your thing.
Yep. So if just confirm that we all do want to play a quick game of Menti. Just type in the chat. Yes, no. It's multiple choice options.
Well, there's only four of us here. There's only four of us here, Rob. So.
Oh, it's only four. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we'll wrap it up and save it for another day.
Yeah.
Okay. So what did you want to do on your closing notes?
Okay. So what I wanted to do is in closing is I'm not doing my lives for a bit. I'll announce when I'm going live, but I am working on videos. I actually have a few videos that I'm just trying to figure out how I want to make them, because like my cruise, I didn't do vlogging. I actually lost some video footage for some reason. I have no clue how it happened, but there's some videos that I wanted to share and stuff on my channel, which I will.
Uh-oh.
You forgot to turn off YouTube. So yeah, I just wanted everybody to stay tuned for that. I do have some video and stuff, but I do have, photos posted up on Instagram, my Facebook group. Go check out my Facebook group and my Instagrams. And if you do check out my Instagram, I have a link in there that shares everything out, everything, like all my links to everything that I have. I have a web page. I have a Plump Travelers web page. I have a Facebook group and a Facebook page for my YouTube channel. Then I also have a travel agent website that, if you're ever looking for travel and you need help booking your travel, hey, give me a call or message me in my Facebook Messenger and stuff like that. I also have an email, plumptravelers@gmail.com, or I also have larry.gerow, which is Larry Giroux, at travelbestbets.com. If you're looking for help with travel, I'm not no expert in travel. I'm not no veteran, travel agent. I'm still learning, but I'm pretty much, I think I got one or two. I think I got to finish Virgin Cruise Lines and Royal Caribbean training, but I'm
anyways, Larry, I gotta cut you off there because I gotta start heading up for supper.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So I will catch you all in another live stream. Until next time, I will see you on the high seas.
Thank you for having me.
Bye
Night.
for now.